Now let's talk about My Last Duchess as a monologue, which is a very important point to discuss. Is one of the most famous monologues by Robert Browning, which was published in 1842. My Last Duchess is a dramatic monologue. Now you will ask, what is a dramatic monologue? Okay, let me explain to you what a dramatic monologue is. A dramatic monologue is a long speech by a single person. One person, the central character, speaks in a monologue. Others only listen to them. Like in Ulysses, we saw that it's only Ulysses who speaks, and others are silent. So it gives a dramatic touch to the poem. That's why it is called dramatic monologue. It is dramatic because it is the utterance of an imaginary character, not the utterance of the poet. The poet doesn't speak anything. The poet is objective or tries to remain objective throughout the poem. It has the element of theatricality. It is meant to be read to an audience. And the character is developed not through any description on the part of the poet, but through what they speak, through their own utterances. The character of the central figure and the characters of other people about him whom they speak is revealed through the utterances. Characters are revealed through the conflicts and conflicting opposite thoughts and emotions of the characters who speak the lines. The speaker's temperament is revealed through their words. Their character, their nature, their mood, the temperament, everything is revealed through their words. To say that the poem is a monologue means that it is a conversation of a single individual with someone. Only one person speaks throughout the monologue, throughout the poem. The other or the others only listen to the speaker. The listeners are interlocutors. They either don't speak anything, the listeners, or if they do, they speak in monosyllables. Very short sentence. They don't speak in the poem. No dialogue comes from any other character. The main speaker addresses or interacts with one or more people. In Browning's My Last Duchess, the Duke speaks to the emissary of a count. In Tennyson's Ulysses speaks sometimes to the mariners, sometimes to someone else. We have an idea of the presence of others or how they react only from the clues in the words of the speaker. The speech of the central character makes up the whole of the poem, which begins at a crucial point, a specific situation. As in this poem, an emissary visits the count and with a proposal for the marriage. In Ulysses, the critical point is when he suddenly feels that it is useless to sit and to waste time with an old aged wife near the hearth. Now you will ask, what is the difference between the drama and monologue? Let's discuss this thing also. The dramatic monologue differs widely from drama in its purpose and method. In drama we have several characters, several acts, there are dialogues, soliloquies, everything is there, but in a monologue only one person speaks. In the drama the action is external. In the monologue the action is entirely internal. The thoughts of the individual characters are the actors in a monologue, and their souls are the stages on which the characters play their roles. The emotions play their parts. Browning's poetry is a poetry of situation, because he generally writes monologues, and monologues begin from a critical situation. They evolve further. Now another question which is generally asked is, what is the difference between a monologue and a soliloquy? So monologue is to be distinguished from soliloquy. Some people get confused that okay, it's the same. One person speaks in the soliloquy, one person speaks in a monologue. So there is no difference. But there is a very big difference which I am going to tell you. Soliloquy is the expression of ideas by a character in a play, a private debate, a dialogue of the mind with itself. In soliloquy, the character doesn't speak to another person or interlocutor or a listener. He speaks to himself. Whereas a monologue implies the presence of some other character to whom it is addressed. In a soliloquy, two persons are having conversation or interaction, and then suddenly one feels something, one comes aside and one speaks to oneself, and then again. So this is private conversation. And in a monologue there is one-to-one talk. There is a conversational tone in a monologue, and monologue is often longer than the soliloquy, thus allowing the poet full scope for character portrayal, for the analysis of motives and emotions, because emotions are the characters in a monologue. Emotions are not the characters in a soliloquy. Emotions don't play their parts, and they are not as important as they are in a monologue. Now, what is Browning's poetic technique in this special monologue, My Last Duchess? So in most of his poems, he uses monologue for the study of the character. In these monologues, he depicts an amazingly wide variety of characters taken from all walks of life. In Andrea del Sarto, we have a painter. In Grammarian's Funeral, we have a grammarian. In My Last Duchess, we have a duke. In each monologue, one character is at the center, and the substance of the whole monologue consists of what passes within their soul. This is the essence of the whole monologue. In Andrea del Sarto, whatever passes in Andrea del Sarto's soul is the content, is the essence of the monologue. Besides the central figures in each monologue, there are some minor figures also who serve as interlocutors, the listeners Even those who are not present in the situation are also there. They are also the characters. Often, nature background is skillfully interwoven with the mood of the speaker. And in this way, the total effect is heightened. Total effect of the whole monologue is heightened. His monologues have very abrupt and very assertive opening. You can study each of his monologue, and there is abrupt opening, sudden opening, and then situation is revealed to the readers, and at the same time what has gone before is suggested cleverly through retrospective meditation on the part of the central character. So in this poem also we see that there was a duchess who has died. Now the duke intends to marry again. Browning's poetry is a poetry of the great moment, or of the psychological moment, you can say. He does not give us a story moving rapidly, towards the crisis. There is no beginning, no middle, no end. The poem begins from the crisis. He places his characters in the critical moment and then making them talk, and by noting their reactions to the situation reveals what goes on within their souls. So his monologues are the studies of the souls of his characters, the minds of his characters. There is no chronological sequence of events in his poems, in his monologues. Placed in the crisis of life, the speaker indulges in a process of self-analysis, and in this way the readers get a peep into the soul of the central characters, into the souls of the speakers. Browning is an original poet. Browning was an English poet and playwright whose mastery of the dramatic monologue made him one of the foremost Victorian poets.